When starting out with a new client and beginning to prepare for a retirement, we always ask the question of what are your retirement goals? And typically the question or the answer is going to revolve around their hobbies, right? Well, we want to travel, we want to golf more, we want to play more pickleball. But when you boil down and you get to the meat and potato part of the actual question and the retirement planning process, we want to know a little bit more than that. So we've come across 4 common really questions that or goals that we want to answer in that retirement planning process. I'm John Gragg, your certified financial planner with apsadvisor.com. If you haven't hit that subscribe button yet, please do so now. Avoid running out of money is probably at the top of the list, and for really good reason, right? Nobody wants to be 90 years old and all of a sudden have no money. That is a pretty terrifying thing to even think about. I mean, imagine being 90 years old, having no way to make additional money and being really short on all the bills you have. And now all of a sudden you have potential long-term care needs. It's just a terrible thing to think about, and nobody wants to have to go through that, right? You have to knock on your kid's door and say, I need help. That's terrible, right? So that's really the main goal that most people have, is just making sure that you don't run out of money. On the flip side of this is spending every cent. So your goal is to die with $0 in your bank account. And although this sounds good in theory, because maybe you don't have kids or a charity that you want to give the money to, it's just not practical. What happens if you live past, maybe you plan to live to be 94 and you live past that? Or what if you, at the age of 90, have severe dementia and all of a sudden have high long-term care costs? So you can't have this as a goal. It shouldn't be a mentality, and you should think that you need your money to outlive you. That's what's most important here. 3 is maintain or increase your current lifestyle. And this makes a lot of sense, right? Everybody wants to have a nice retirement and be able to do the things that they want to do. But you have to be able to afford that. If you're working and you're making $300,000 and you're spending $300,000 every year and you've only saved $900,000, well, that equation doesn't work, right? Unless you have some serious pension and Social Security income coming in or rental income. It's just not going to work. So you need to plan ahead of time, figure out what your lifestyle is going to be, whether it is increasing or maintaining what you're currently at, and plan for that. The whole conversation here about these goals is planning. So if you plan before retirement, you're much more likely to accomplish these goals than if you start planning after retirement. Because at that point, things are pretty permanent and there's not as much that you can do in order to make sure that you achieve your lifestyle goals. The last common goal is to provide for that next generation. So if you're fortunate enough to have worked really hard, had a good job, maybe built out a business that allowed you to save much more than you spend, then you're probably in a situation where you're sitting on a good amount of money where you're not going to be able to spend in your lifetime. So your goal is going to be to find that charity or provide for your kids, grandkids, whatever your goals are. If you do have those goals, congratulations. You're a benevolent person, and you do need to do some planning to make sure that it gets to that next generation or that charity in the most efficient way possible. Because if you're not careful, taxes could really eat up a big chunk of that, and you may just spend more money than you otherwise thought you would, and they're going to be left with less money. So again, this all revolves around planning all 4 of these common goals. I'm John Gragg, your certified financial planner. I hope you got a little bit out of this video, and I'll see you next time.